So more photographers going in, but we do have our riders, I think, there. Chris Boyd will give us the nod any second now as to when we can get this press conference underway. And that is right now. Chris.
Yes, good evening at the end of a long old day at the TT here. Welcome to the podium press conference for the Bennetts Lightweight TT. Our podium today in third place for Riders Motorcycles Kawasaki is Martin Jessup. Our runner-up for Quattro Plant Muc-Off Kawasaki, James Hillier. And our winner for Devitt RC Express Racing Kawasaki is Ivan Linton. So let's go to our debut podium man, our first ever podium at the TT, Martin Jessup.
Yeah, it feels amazing, you know. We've the bike's completely new to us. It's something that we've built new this year. We're a superbike team, so anything different is going to be a bit of a test. So we built it from the ground up, completely different, I think, to anything we've done before. And we had a podium at the Northwest, which was a massive shock. And now to the, to come to the TT and we get up on the podium, it's just can't believe it. Speechless.
And it is quite a big effort, isn't it, to build a bike from scratch, essentially? Yeah,
that's it, and it's a 4-lap race this year, which is, to the spectators watching on the bike probably don't sound too much, but for the stress on these little bikes, these bikes start life as something you head down to the shop with and pick your groceries up and come back, and then all the teams on the grid turning them into racers. So, and what a job my team have done, so it's all credit to them.
Yeah, it was high attrition in amongst the top end of the field, which shows just what kind of pace you're running at. Were you conscious of how big a battle you were getting into with Stefano Bennetts and Gary Johnson all the way around?
I was sort of the last lap and a half. I had some pit boards out there, but they weren't mine, and I don't know who they were, so thank you for putting them out. But I didn't always have gaps on them. They're on the back of some other riders' pit boards, like James's, so there's just position on the back. But my bike was cutting out really bad. Come out onto the start straight on lap 3, and it was cutting out so bad, misfiring. I thought I had the pit limiter on, which I didn't. And then on the last lap at Ramsey, it cut out, so I pulled over to pretty much stop. I thought I was breaking down, and then it just cleared away. It was flying over the mountain, and then it done it again coming out onto Glen Country Road, and nearly thought it was back 2 years ago when I was led under the wall up there. It was firing me toward the wall where it cut back in, and then just coming across the line, I thought there's no way. I've definitely dropped a couple of places. I knew I was, but amazing.
Brilliant effort. Anyway, only a third TT and on the podium, and this lightweight class is perfect for that, isn't it? Bringing riders through and giving them opportunities.
Yeah, that's it. It's a scary old track on the super bikes. There's sort of passengers around there clinging onto them, and it's at this sort of speed. It's a lot easier to learn the track. You can see everything. You've got a little bit of time to think on the straight, so it makes it a little bit easier just to learn the track for me.
Many congratulations on your podium. We'll head over to James Hillier. You're never happy with second place, and you seem to have it almost perpetually in this race.
Yeah. Yes. You always, you want to win, don't you? But second isn't too bad, and that's a good record for that old girl out there. That's 3 or 4 seconds now, and a win. So she's had a good innings, and she's retired now. She's done enough around here, and. But it was it's a hard race. So I've learnt a little bit this week, and I wanted to try and use that in the race there, which I genuinely felt we were going faster than last year, but I don't think we in the time saying we weren't quite. There was a few flag issues on the last lap, but I'm happy, and it's a reward to the guys. It's finishing on one of those bikes is a challenge in itself to build one quick enough to get round and finish on the box. Finish and on the box, is an achievement in itself. So thank you to the team. Is Phil Biggs and Tig back down there in Bournemouth. They work hard on that little engine, and the whole bike, she had a bit of paint this year, and a bit of a refresh for here. So she served me well, and I'm happy. Really. I'm not unhappy. We'll take that.
Absolutely, it's the third podium of the week as well. Ivan actually led from the start for the first couple of sectors, but then you really got the hammer down on the final part of the opening lap, and you were leading at the end of that first lap.
I tried, I really wanted to kind of maximise any opportunity to not lose time and push from the off, but just slowly Ivan was picking away at me, and onto the last lap it was plus 10 or 11, and you're never going to pull that back on one of these bikes around here, it's up against especially Ivan, it just wasn't going to happen, so I just had to accept defeat really, and bring her home.
Yeah, the pit stop ultimately is what decided it. I think Ivan's time is 38.7 seconds and yours was 44.8, so there was 7 seconds went in the pit stop.
Yeah, it fell to pieces, to be honest. They covered me in fuel. It went all over my nuts, and then I rode off from the pits, and somehow I'd knocked the pit lane limiter off, and I was watching the speed box at the end that tells me my speed, and it went up to 58, and nothing had cut in. You know, there's no electronics coming in, and then it just felt a disaster. I was convinced I'd actually exceeded the speed limit, but we hadn't, and just little things like that can sometimes rough you up a little for the next few sectors, and it took a while to get back in, and you override. And these bikes, out of all the bikes, these are the ones you can't override. You've got to keep it smooth, and as soon as you start trying too hard on these, you just go backwards. It's all about keeping it kind of flowing and carrying your momentum. So I've learnt to get a bit more again, and just have to try again, won't we?
Indeed, and try again on Friday.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's five down now, 1 to go Friday. Day off, relatively a day off tomorrow, and regroup and get on the missile monster thing. You know, it's actually quite enjoyable riding those little 650s, and the super bikes are another level. You know, you really got to be on the pipe for 6 laps is tough. So going to get focused for that, and hopefully finish strong in the senior.
Excellent. Many congratulations on your hat-trick of podium so far this week. Let's move across to our winner, and back-to-back wins, and three wins in a row for the bike.
Yeah, well, 3 wins in a row for a team. It's a different bike this year. It's a 2016 bike like Martin rides, but yeah, fantastic.
And you, as we say, you led early on, and then James managed to overhaul you.
Yeah, I was getting 3 boards. I think someone was giving me one coming out of the bungalow, and I'm not sure who that was. But getting reasonable boards, and I knew after the first lap I was in the mix, and that's what I wanted to be. Then we could either decide then whether we're chipping away and we'll be able to catch up with James. I thought it'd be James. Or what happened to Rutter? Rutter must have been
tired.
Right, first lap was it, or?
Yeah, first or
yeah,
second.
But I knew it'd probably be between us. So when I saw it was like P1 plus 1 and then P2 minus, and we was in the mix, and we come into the pits, and I think I was leading into the pits, and the boys did a superb job in the pits. We knew how much fuel we needed to take on, and they obviously didn't get excited counting it in, and we got enough to finish, and it was obviously that's where I gained my time and got my gap, really.
Absolutely sensational, because by the time you got to Glen Helen on lap 3, you had broken him, really. You had 8 seconds.
Yeah, and then I sort of maintained that, and as James says, you can't make mistakes on him. And on the last, coming down the mountain, lap 3, I was like, God, I wish this was a 3-lap race like last year, but obviously we had one more to go, and then you just think, right, just hit your apex. And I started missing things and running wide and being in the wrong gear, and I just had to knuckle down and actually get it. Then we got a couple of yellow flags, and you obviously slow down and honour them like everyone else does, but you're like, but slowing down to 50, 60, however slow we do go through them, it's a lot slower than 150 that you would go through the places at. But obviously we did enough, and coming over the mountain, it's quite a nice ride through the midgie infested mountain on the last lap. It was quite enjoyable. But 9 laps today, fitness I thought would maybe be a factor for me towards the end of the 9 laps, but everything went well. Bike was mint. Yeah, good.
What were conditions like as the race wore on? Because presumably the sun was getting lower and lower.
I was a bit nervous about that for a start, because obviously in practice, we practice with the sun down. I'm not a big fan of it then. And you go through Appledene and Ballagary and places like that, and it is very sketchy until you can see your apex. It ain't so bad on these little bikes because you're only doing 150 mile per hour as opposed to a super bike doing 180 through the places, but it's still, you have to be accurate with them because you're carrying so much momentum to get the ultimate lap times that we're doing. But yeah, conditions good. Nice, it was a bit cooler. If it had been a 2 o'clock race, we'd have been baking out there, but the sun went down and it was a nice ride in the Isle of Man countryside.
And do you have to consciously adopt a completely different riding style?
Yeah, definitely, because these are about corner speed and momentum, and probably for the first lap you're taking too many gears out of them and scrubbing too much speed into the corners. It takes certainly a lap of every corner to adapt back to riding a twin from a 600 that we drove previously in the morning. And then, of course, we'll have to adapt again for Friday for the senior on a big gal. So, but yeah, get a few beers in me tonight and have a nice day off tomorrow and reevaluate for Friday morning.
Absolutely superb. Congratulations on today. Two-time TT winner now. So our podium today in the Bennetts lightweight TT. In third place, Martin Jessup. In second place, James Hillier. And our winner, and now a two-time TT winner, Ivan Linton.